Okay, you guys smile and be nice. We're gonna go live on Facebook now.
And smile.
Okay, you guys are so amazing. We're almost there. I can't see you, so you better be nice right now.
Nice.
There we go.
Type fast.
All right, go live. What? Who just said that? Jess? Oh, are you okay?
Yes, that's why I was like.
Okay, we are live on Facebook. Hey, guys.
Hey.
You guys ready to keep it real in real estate?
You sure are.
How we do it?
That's what we do. Well, welcome back, everyone that is joining us. We're super excited to be here. We'll all get to introduce ourselves here in a second, and we're super excited to be back and talk about the big question today Josh came up with and shared. So we'll let him lead that part.
Go ahead, Jim.
And well, really the question, and I think it was shared in the post, was, what are you doing to put your current company, so your current business, your current real estate team, out of business before someone else does? Does that cover it, you guys think?
Yep.
So let's just go. No, Tim, not allowed. So all of our friends found out and figured out how to change their names on Zoom, and so some are silly. And
Tiger?
silly.
G-A-U-X?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll let Tony Baroni from Tampa start, since I get to see him this week. You're my favorite. So.
Oh, I always knew I was your favorite. I'm glad it's official now on video, and it's being recorded, just so you know, Jess and Tim and Josh. So.
It's
alternative sex.
So Tony, just share who you are and what your production looks like. We've had a lot of years in experience. We've seen lots of markets, so we can kind of talk on this topic.
Yeah, we're the wise ones in this group, huh, Jenny? Based on age.
Old.
Hey, that includes me. So Tony Baroni, Tampa Bay, Florida. Been with KW. Been in real estate since 2005. Been with KW since 2007. We've been around 200 units plus the past 3 years. We're going to the 300, and did 236 units last year. Served that many families, along with 60 million in volume for about 1.6 GCI, and heading to 300 here soon, hopefully.
Got it. Hope is not a strategy.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of, let's just have you go ahead and share, what are some of the things that you've thought of when we've talked about ways to put yourself out of business?
Well, ways to put yourself out of business. So I would say, when I thought about that, it's really innovation. I think I was on a panel Friday, and I found it interesting. There was 4 agents, and the question was, is there a bubble coming or a shift? And 3 other panelists said no, and I said yes. And I think that kind of sums it up for me of our local real estate market, where I feel the pressure to constantly be innovating more to keep up with competition. We have Open Door, all these companies in our backyard here that are starting to get some momentum. So I think one thing right off the bat that I've been implementing is a GPS or a 135 for each individual thing, and then create that to share it with other leaders in our organization to get after it. For them to say, this one's mine. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go do what I need to do to actually execute it. So that's the number one thing I think I'm working on right now that's going to be able to help us innovate going forward, and then help other team members to get really involved in what they should be doing on a day-to-day basis to take their business to the next level along with ours.
I love that. We can dive deeper in that in a minute.
Yeah, we can, for sure.
Yeah, we'll just kind of do one little bit per person. So Tim, you're in Austin, Texas today.
Yes.
What are you doing there?
KWRI. Yes. So I'm Tim Howe from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've been in the business for 13 years. I've been with Keller 13 years. Production last year around 48 million, just shy of 200 units. This year we're on track to land somewhere north of 250. And I think I've got a list of a ton of stuff, but I'll share with you what my first thought is, because I'm here at taking FSO, and it's been already a powerful morning. And, when you're launching a market center, obviously one of the first things that you do is you do an analysis of your market. And I think to do analysis of not only market, but include yourself into that. What's your strengths and weaknesses, and looking for opportunities for threat and areas of growth. I think starting there and formulating a plan around that would be how I would, if you were going to a new market to put someone out of business, the first thing you would do is know your competition.
Wow. Would you recommend FSO for all agents to take?
Absolutely. I think that, FSO for franchise systems orientation, so many people use the connotation for if you're an investor or an OP, but if you want to build a big business and you want a replicable business, listen, ESO is fantastic, but I think the retooled FSO is truly remarkable for the systems that you get to see the mindset behind the market centers, and why aren't we employing those tools in our business? So I'm here with my director of sales, and he's already blown away. He's like, yes, this is it.
Awesome.
So, highly recommend FSO.
That's great.
Yeah, Tim, I was talking to a Remax agent last week, and they're going to FSO. I don't think they have intention of coming over to our company, but I found that really interesting. They were saying, well, I'm going to Austin to go to FSO here in a couple months. I'm like, wow, that's probably a great recruiting tool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. All right. So Jess, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. What you got?
Well, I'm Jess Starr from Connecticut. We do 175 to 200 houses a year, depending upon the year. Our market in Connecticut has already started to see and feel the shift. So we are trending actually about a quarter behind of what we were last year. So we need to do some major catch up. And I like being really real and honest with you guys. So I'll be honest. And part of that was we actually had to deconstruct part of our team, and it's time to reconstruct. And we have been in the process of doing that. But, I think the biggest thing for me, and I've been with KW for 8 years. I was with Prudential Connecticut Realty for 7 before that. Just like Josh had said earlier, I think hiring more leaders, finding those leaders, supporting them, lifting them, inspiring them, hiring them, because I think those really are the ones that will help be the game changers within the company. And I think creating that customer experience is another thing to set us apart from what just the brick and mortar can offer as a team. So we really have been focusing the customer experience with the director of fun and stuff like that to do client events and that kind of thing. So can't wait to talk about it.
Yay. All right, Joshy Poo.
Thank you for that introduction. Josh Anderson, Nashville, Tennessee. Been in the business since April of 2006, so a little over 13 years. Last year we did about 215 transactions for 86 million. So we are right on target to do somewhere in the 95 to 100 million. So we're pushing to hit 100 million this year. So I need some agent referrals to help get that along. I think as far as the question goes, I think, and I said it to begin with, there's about 4 or 5 things that we're really trying to do at a much higher level this year. But I think really at the end of the day, none of those matter or happen without hiring the leaders piece of it and not just agents.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to one up what we've been doing as far as recruiting. And I think what that's going to require is talking to more people and finding people outside of the industry. As Gary always says, the people that aren't even in the business yet are the people that are going to be the future leaders of the industry. And I think you can be anywhere in 5 years. So we're going to find those people and train them up and see if we can get into business with them.
I think we should talk about how you're one-upping your game on hiring the right leaders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. We'll get into that, Jess.
Bring it.
Love it. All right, cool. I'm Jenny Wolek from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And last year, our team helped 135 families, and we are on track for 179. And our goal was 200, is 200. And that gap is actually the difference of the agents that we've brought on. So with their standard in place that we're going to hold them to, we should get to that number. Yay.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I had a huge aha as I was thinking through this. We had our mid-year team review on Friday, and that's where we, what were our goals? Where are we now? What's the gap? Where can we improve our customer experience? All that good stuff. We got so much meat and conversation in, and I had a really full agenda. And then right before, I scrapped most of it and left lots of space for conversation. And since my internet is unstable anyway. And so what was interesting about that is that we let everyone go around the table and introduce themselves. We've got some new faces, and my answer would obviously be leverage and hiring talent and all that, like everyone's. And every person introduced themselves and how they got to the team. That wasn't the question. They all just shared that they got here by way of, and every answer was somehow related to a form of lead generation that I had done. And what's weird is that I don't think of myself as a great recruiter and talent magnet or finder of people. And then they all said it out loud that I got to realize that we're doing the right things, and you guys as well, we're doing the right things and we're showing up, and we do have that people will come to us. Now I just need to do more of it and be more efficient in it and be more purposeful with it. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys, that sometimes we forget our strengths and we need to then plus them while we're at it. So, well, that's enough of me talking right now. So who wants to go into either one category that we've already brought up and mentioned, or go off on another big idea that they came up with?
Let's talk about the hiring talent part with Josh, since he brought that up.
I love when Jess does this.
You're good. We need to hear from you.
So, I think the big piece for me is we have kind of a whole checklist and process and system for hiring. And I think the big piece is when we get busy, part of it is have the system in place. I think part of it is implementing it consistently and really continuing to do it at a high level. And part of it is also everybody on the team understanding mission, vision, values, and understanding that just having everybody on board to do it. And I think there's a lot of agents just in general or on teams that don't see the value in recruiting, because they look at it and go, well, if we recruit more people, there's less leads spread over more agents. And so, and that's not a leader mindset. And so it's finding, for me, one of the pieces is finding more people, both from a business development standpoint, but also really digging in. LinkedIn is kind of my one thing from a recruiting perspective. And so that's where I like to network, because those are the people that I'm looking for. Business owners, people that, I think it's a different mindset on LinkedIn than it is on Indeed or ZipRecruiter or some of these other places. So I just turned on my Sales Navigator. So it's like $80 or $100 a month, and they've also got Recruiter Lite for LinkedIn. So you can create lists, and you can really kind of dig in and do a lot with that you can't on a regular LinkedIn or even a LinkedIn Premium. So being able to send emails to people in your third, 3 people away from you. So I've been digging into that, just starting that piece of it, but it's really constantly having ads out, creating different ads different pictures with those ads or different images. So just kind of digging into it constantly. I'm sure there's things that you guys have to add, but I think it's just being really purposeful and intentional about finding. Because we've kind of like you, Tony, we've been in 180 to 250 transactions a year since 2016. So we've kind of grown and changed, but to me, I feel like we've kind of stayed stagnant, not really grown.
Mm-hmm.
That frustrates me.
Yeah. At least your price point is so much better. I've been in that same boat too. I think, have you guys ever talked about, I just talked about this with my coach, incentivizing team members for helping to attract talent as well?
Yep. So we have my business coach told me I'm crazy for doing what I do, but I offered our team $10,000 for people, broken up over a 2-year period. So like we bring them on, they get maybe like a $500 bonus. At month 6, they get a $500 bonus. At 12-month mark, they get $2,500. 18 months, they get, another $1,500 or $2,500, and then they get the balance at year 2. My thought is if you're keeping somebody for 2 years, it's more than paid for itself. So I'd rather offer, frankly, kind of a shitload of money to do it, because I think it's worth it, and I think it's a valuable tool. It helps them also, and it's not, you can't pay that money up front.
So
it's got to be at
love
metrics.
the metrics aspect of it, and mine was much smaller than that. I need to think bigger, clearly. Yet, I think just any kind of thank you to begin with, then it could be based off term, the time they're with you. There was even ones that I had come up with based on buying down their cap for them because of that.
I don't think the cap is the same. I think people want actual dollars because they're going to pay cap anyway. And I think actual money, all in $2 bills. So I just think I think them getting the actual money is different than paying down the cap, because they don't see the cap down. I don't think they see that the same as actual dollars in their pocket.
I don't disagree with you. Sometimes we're depending upon the person, the cap buy down, because the cap buy down got them to 100%, which was a longer term. If we could get them to cap sooner, so technically they'd probably make a little more money if you really thought about it.
Are you guys, any of you doing just signage at all your listings? I know everyone on this does a lot of listing business that we are hiring, just simple we are hiring signs.
Oh, it's a good idea.
But I will be.
Thank you.
Talk more about that. What do you mean?
So, a rider on the sign or a separate.
Because we need more riders.
Yeah, just basically
8 stacks of riders.
You could buy the bandit signs. They're like $30 for nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
just saying, like in the yard, separate from the sign. Another thing is signage when you sell a buyer a house, right? That you have them agree up front that you can leave it in the yard for 30 days. You could combine it with a couple different signs, where we are hiring, and
sold
then
by.
we brought the buyer on this house.
Yeah.
So maybe something easy you can implement.
Tim, you got something on this topic? I have something. I'll let you go first.
On that's like a completely new idea, or the hiring?
Just the hiring.
Just anything.
Yeah, again, just having some ahas this morning from the hiring perspective, how the market center looks at reverse engineering which organization needs to look like, and doing the missing persons report and going after strategic hires. I know that I do not do a good enough job of that, and I assume that a few of us probably don't either. So I think just cultivating a 135, a GPS, like Tony said, around who do you need. There are specific skill sets that we probably looking for in an organization. Do we want a builder division? Do we want somebody who is just a strong listing agent? Somebody only wants to really love on buyers, and hiring around that instead of just more of the rifle approach versus the shotgun.
Yeah, So I think my piece of this would be having a plan and a process for the hiring, not the hiring process, the attracting people to your world process. So years ago, I've shared this before, I noticed I had awesome relationships with my out-of-town realtor friends, and I had totally sucked over the years at staying in touch with my local agents. I'm really focused and I don't go out and spend time with my local agents at brokers opens. And so therefore, I don't have tons of agent friends in town. I'm like, well, that sucks because I'm really nice and friendly and I have some information to provide. I'm just teasing. I'm just waiting to see your faces on that. And so I started my plan with my Facebook blog and page, which is Your Journey with Jenny. Well, that started for my out-of-town realtor friends to attract referrals and to share back value that we use in our business. And then actually I use viral marketing, and I've been with them for many, many years now. They help produce lots of my videos. And Frank, he's kind of the mad scientist of marketing, and went out with him, and he has this whole plan around attracting people to your world. So he calls it a recruiting blog. So if you go to yourjourneywithjenny.com, there's actually a web page that has all kinds of content on it and all the videos that I have where people then can say, apply, connect, learn more. And it gives this story about, the value of working with a great team like ours. And so with that blog, that's just a piece of it. Then there's Facebook, and then you have, I can boost ads that are on that page. And having systematic touches to my in-town agent database. So even having, Frank recommended, and it's totally worked, having an outbound messaging assistant. So from hiring on, what's it called, Upwork, I have an assistant that lives in New York City that we pay $10 an hour for a few hours a day, and she messages in-town agents, invites them to events or, whatever you need her to do. And 2 of my recent hires came from that, 1 agent and 1 admin. And so it's just crazy that these simple little things have produced results. And then also having a calendar. So already on your Eventbrite, have built out the rest of the year, the career nights that you're going to have or classes you're going to teach. And so in that, agents will definitely show up for free CE and free food. And so some of the classes that I have been teaching, I got approved for continuing education. So just another way to get in front of more agents so that then I can add them to my funnel in my world and get to know them better. And then later on have that relationship. So there's that.
And build your downline.
Also, as simple as we talk at our team meeting every week about what co-op agents we've done deals with and who we had a good transaction with. And I mean, as simple as that, I think that's something that we just kind of overlook.
Yeah.
But we talk about that at every team meeting. Who are you doing a deal with right now that's been an awesome agent?
Yeah, and so with that, as soon as they come into our database as a co-op agent, they get tagged that way. And so they're going to start getting Your Journey with Jenny video emails every other week. And then we added some touches. So the lead agent, Nate or Brittany, call them halfway through. They have a reminder that says, hey, just by the way, it's been great working with you through this transaction. And then right after closing, they have a call reminder. Hey, it's been so fun getting to know you. And then I have a call reminder, sending an email. Hey, thanks so much for being so great to work with. So just those little tiny added touches can make a big difference, I think.
Another thing with the added touches, you guys, if you were going to do that, especially to attract the agents, either from the other companies or people that were currently in other jobs, we always push all of us on getting at our team meetings and after the post-close and throughout the conversation, getting the reviews and recommendations. Why not give them for the agents as well? Because you can give agent reviews too. I know some agents will probably say, no, don't do that because, you don't want to support other people. But when you can go and support another agent and say how wonderful they were to co-broke with, that really sets a great tone. And I tend to bring closing gifts to the agents I really love at the closing table. And I give it to them in front of their client, to let them know what a great agent they were. So it makes you stand out because not many people do that.
Yeah.
That's sweet of you, Jess.
My downline's also one of the biggest in the office, so.
Awesome. Any other things we want to touch on when we're talking about hiring and processes?
Well, I would say, just people, like right now we have, I believe he'll be inside sales. And I always run through this, but I think he makes in the realm of 150,000 a year, travels 90% of the time, hates traveling, great guy, big family guy, really good at service. He was on a flight with me going to Atlanta, and we're going to Hawaii. I got sidetracked and didn't book my travel well. And so he told me on the airplane, we ran into each other. He's like, so dude, where are you going? I'm like, Hawaii. He's like, so you have to connect, and what time's your next flight? And so we went over all of this. He helped me and my family take our bags, get us through everything. And literally we were running through the airport, and it was when they were closing the door, we actually got on the flight. And Kelly and I looked at each other and we're like, man, what an awesome person. He's just amazing. So when I came back, I called him and I just said, yeah, I want to figure out a way to get in business together. And now fast forward 2 years, he's still not on my team, but we have like a process. We went through the whole KPA, and he's been sending me tons of referrals. And ultimately, we're waiting on one more thing for him to switch over. And his wife basically needs to get a full-time job. So I asked him, what is she looking for? I'm trying to find her a job, so then he can come over. So I think relationships, obviously, it always goes back to Indeed, and Josh is talking LinkedIn, and all of that's fantastic. But who do you know in your world that could change your world right now and change theirs is the question I'm always in my mind. And that's how we've hired most people, is through our sphere, or past clients and things of that nature. So
Well, and it's really good to talk about all this stuff, but you don't implement it unless your calendar matches what your dreams and your words are, right?
True.
You guys set time in your calendar every week to have that prospecting. I mean, prospecting for talent is in my calendar. It's time blocked in. And if I don't have that somebody in for an appointment when I have the appointment set on my calendar, then I'm adding more prospecting to it.
Yeah, and you do that really well, Jess. You always have. Just time block it.
Yeah.
Your broke agents.
Yeah.
And all of that.
I agree you have to time block it, but I also think you can just do it anywhere you go. Like,
Yeah.
think about, I always think about the idea of, if I'm going to local coffee shop or wherever, whether it's Starbucks, seeing a barista with a line outside the door, and the idea of they've got a smile on their face, and they've got people, they're dealing with all the personalities.
Mm-hmm.
People are being jerks. Some of them are being nice. I will hand them my card all day long and just, hey, if you ever decide not to be a barista anymore, call me. I want to talk. And I think it's just kind of being purposeful across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could actually have business cards made up for stuff like that, rather than you'd have a different business card set,
Yeah.
Or just in mind for any of your referrals on top of that.
Card. Either way. Everybody got quiet.
I think Jenny froze.
No,
between Josh and Jess, I like to watch it unfold.
Yeah.
We're being good.
We're being good today. Yeah.
Good behavior.
All right. So I think we've hammered this, and we've definitely talked on that topic before. What are some other ways that you're being?
Your internet's not working great.
Oh yeah, I know. Am I okay now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what are some other inefficiencies? What are some ways we can be more efficient in our businesses that allow us to make sure that we're time blocked for hiring and prospecting for talent? I mean, I had one this morning by just simply having a,
Tim.
We're like all frozen. Sorry. I don't know why.
Oh, I wanted to screenshot that so bad.
All right. Sorry. Back at it. So Did you guys have anything?
All right, let's try that again.
Tim, you have anything, bud?
About more efficiency, I mean, accountability partners. No, but I did have an idea that I think is a pretty profound. So when I teach, sometimes when I'm teaching, working with agents or my team, so I have this exercise. I'll take a whiteboard and I say, okay, if you were to drop me off in Hartford, Connecticut, if you were to drop me off and I could only do one job, and that one job was real estate, to feed my family, to have me survive, I would succeed. And so I would go through and I'd say, hey, let's write a list of all the things you would do if you were dropped off at a new city somewhere. And, all these ideas start flowing. People are like, go to the chamber meetings, door knocking, open houses, and it literally, the list gets very long. I usually have a whole post-it, the pad full onto the next page with all these ideas, right? And it's all about connecting and networking, B&I groups. It's all these ideas. And so I take them and I stick them to the wall and I say, okay, which of these are you currently doing or are we currently doing? And everybody sits back and goes, whoa. It's like, we know the things to be successful at a very high level, yet we do not execute a lot of those things. Tony, I know you're big in B&I. I am not. Why wouldn't I? What is stopping me from going to join a B&I group to increase my business? Like, this is what a competitor that was looking to come into my space, they would look at all the things we're not doing and start to fill the vacuum. So I think overall, just coming up with a list of things we could be doing better and finding out who's going to do them, when they're going to be done by. And I'm guilty. I've done this exercise. I have not.
This is brilliant. I mean, I think it's very simple that anyone could do that immediately, whether you're a solo agent, you're a team.
Oh, yeah.
The whiteboard exercise. Man, you got me excited now because that's going to be at our next team meeting.
No. That's what I'm telling you.
Actually, for our team meeting also.
Yeah.
Oh, in your team's team meeting? Yeah, so what I did in my team, they all sit around and like, when I say, okay, great, now who's going to tackle this one? And everybody starts going, oh. It's cleverly disguised as work.
Well, here's the thing. That's what I was starting all of this off when Jenny asked me on GPS's 135s. I think, we have conversations about this quite a bit, and I know with other agents around the country. I mean, at the end of the day, I've owned that my role on the team is to help innovate, and not only where people make up their numbers and say, I want to do X and I want to help this many families. I think we need to take it a step further and even a step further beyond that by helping create all these 135s. Like to me, there's about 20 that I have a list of that I'm going through right now. And I'm literally creating the whole thing. And the idea is I'm going to pick which ones are mine, right? And I'm going to own those. And then I think team members can grab on and say, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do that one. And then they can do the next step on what would you change on here that you think shouldn't be on here that you believe should be there. And then it's like, okay, go do it. Go do it. Go do it. So to me, it's just taking it another step forward to help the leaders in your organization, how they should think, instead of going after solo business, thinking bigger with multiples. And there's just so much opportunity for that. So I think we just need to create that for our team and let them latch on.
I think too, thinking, because the market has definitely shifted here, thinking bigger with multiples, like you just said, that's a really good topic to bring up. One of the things I did last week, actually, when Charlie came up, we actually went and met with a bunch of assisted care facilities and healthcare administrators, because they had already been doing it in Florida. When I came down to speak, I had made a great connection with him. He works in Sun City, right?
Yeah.
And which is a retirement community, and they have affiliations with a bunch of, elder care and healthcare facilities. And I told him about my Twilight Seniors program that we had been working on. So when he came up, he was smart. He's got kids over in Coventry, Connecticut. We met for lunch. We went over to meet a bunch of the administrators he knew, and just to make a good, reference point and could be consistent referrals for him, coming from me selling those people's homes here. And we wanted to think about people that had to sell their home, right? Who has to sell their home that no matter what, you're going to get paid because they need to move. Well, people like that, the nursing facilities, they all have lists of properties that need to sell before those people can go on Title 19 and move into those facilities. So what other kinds of larger organizations, you know, we do stuff with Homes for Heroes in the fire department and military and teachers and doctors and physicians, because we want to hit large groups of people. And usually if you treat them right, they tell everybody they know. So
Well,
what other areas are you guys working and looking in for those kinds of things?
I don't think it's limited ever to just, you know, I think another 135 could be how to create multi-offer situations more often, right? So I think we're always talking lead gen 135s, but sometimes the answer is right there, where it's just how do we, again, the promise, how do you get a referral from everyone? How do you get online review from everyone? And then multi-offers, maybe you don't need 20 more listings. Maybe you just need to market them better and create multi-offer situations where you can take that and go get more listings with.
And do a door knocking around that too.
Right, exactly.
It's also kind of unlimited on Jess, you're talking about like assisted living and things like that. I mean, there's probate attorneys, there's the divorce attorneys. I mean, death, divorce, those are all like just, I think it's having somebody that specializes in your team that can handle those things, and you have the leverage that allows them to go do more. The other, as Gary said, I think this was probably 7 or 8 years ago when I first got into Gary's group, and he said, you know, why can't you just go find 25 people in your database that can send you 3 closed deals a year? You're like, damn, that sounds pretty easy. I mean, it's not, but I mean, 3 people.
Well, think about it. Jenny has a covenant. I don't know if you still do it, Jenny, but I remember you telling me, I thought this was brilliant, with her contractors, I believe, that she refers, that she has a covenant she has sent out to them, like, hey, you know, we're going to refer you business all year long. And because of that, you know, I'll let you talk about it, but I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. I do need to bust that back out again. And that's always everything we keep talking about is always goes back to a who. Like, you have to have a who in your organization to help you with this. So Tony's creating all these 135s and he needs to pass them and allow other who's in your organization. So the business partner is brilliant. And I got it from one time years ago when I went to ESO in the old days, and it was just a way to grow your database. And so basically from Bold, it's the Yellow Pages script. You know, you're calling and growing your database through vendor partners, business partners who in your database owns a business. That's how you can plus your database, grow it. And then you just say, hey, I'm going to come out. We love supporting local business owners. I'm going to come shoot a video with you. I'll share it with our database. We're going to network and put it all over the place. And all that we ask in return is that in a calendar year, you share a referral with us. Does that sound good? Everyone says yes. They've committed to it. They get put into our whole touch system. And really the past, I love doing the after closing calls to clients. I'm not working with many buyers or sellers anymore. And I get to do the thank you so much for your business calls. And something we love to do is to give back to our nonprofit, Keys to the City, and I ask for who they'd like to donate to. And then you can also share, you know, what experiences have you had recently with great businesses in town that I should know about, who also gives a great customer experience. So you can just get lots of touches outside of a call to say thank you to your clients, and then you can grow it from there. And 2 of my recent calls were from business partners that had referred us business. So a cleaning company that I made a video with a couple years ago, and then a home remodeler who just shared a referral with us. So it may not be overnight that you get that referral, and it's okay. It's just like the promise, right, Tony? Like, we're going to put it out there that that's our goal, to deliver this experience. And our goal is to also get a review and a referral. And then maybe it's not right away. 6 months later is fine.
So are you still tracking that?
I haven't lately. That's where it's on my list too, with my missing person. So that's
I'm just asking because what happened, I guess 2-part question. 1, who are they referring from the standpoint of, does it have to be a buyer, seller, investor? Number 1. Number 2, if they don't do it in a calendar year, are they off your list, or is it a conversation? What does that look like? Because we've tried to do similar with Homekeeper and a couple other things, and it's a full-time job to have somebody.
I got over the whole part about holding them to it. There's a whole nother level that Josh, you and I think, Tim, you've also met him, Chris Waters in Austin. He's got this whole program where people pay him to be in his vendor partner program. And I know that's not my style. And so that's okay. We can do ours a little different. And so instead I've just gone with I'm going to have a business owner mastermind once a quarter. I have a Facebook group for them, and really just pouring back into and supporting other business owners like Tony B and I. That's what it is. You're just building relationships with business people. And so I'm not tracking it right now. They end up coming or they don't. It's still business.
We track it well, Josh, and it really, everything goes through our ISA department or myself. So we're very, very specific. Like, we have the source of, like, when I look at my top sources, we could call them Sphere, and it would be like 60 to 70%. But we break them down to BNI, like Tim said, and past clients. Was it a past client referral? And then who was the person that gave it to us? So then we can acknowledge that, right? So I think with Josh, with agent referrals, I know everyone on here does really, really well with that. But I mean, when Josh said a little thank you, for basically as a agent referral partner out there, man, that was impressive. I mean, our whole office was like, wow, this is awesome. So I think just thinking a little bit outside the box like that, just it gets people's attention, let alone clients, agent referrals, or whatever it is. It's just the acknowledgement part, right?
Yeah.
Good job, Josh.
Yeah, so I need some more of that chocolate, by the way.
I got a pair of socks from the Peters Company today.
Yeah, I've got some.
Nice.
I'll put those on tomorrow.
Well, we've got about 15 minutes left. What are any other huge topics you're just dying to share or brainstorm together?
I got one. So one thing we're looking at right now is adding, to get the whole team involved. We obviously we do a closing gift. I know that's a whole nother topic, but we do a closing gift. And then during the process, is there a way to have team members acknowledge clients in their own ways during the process? So we're really considering right now to do like a $50 budget of that's sprinkled between going live when we start working with them and closing, between our listing manager, closing coordinator, closing coordinator or something like that, through the process. And it could be, like I sent out yesterday, someone just had a baby, so I sent them a
onesie,
a coffee gift card.
A onesie.
A onesie? I didn't. No onesie.
Welcome to your new crib.
Yeah.
Time for a new crib.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's a good topic to throw out there.
I have one.
Yep.
We came up with the same exact thing, so I'm so glad you brought this up. So at our team review, we were having the same conversation of how do we surprise and delight? How do we just surprise and delight our clients through the process? And we've got an ending. We've got one that is pretty dang amazing. For our buyer clients, we have these big welcome home. It's each letter is a corrugated sign about this big, and it says welcome home across their front yard. And then we've got a sign that says sold by the Wolek Group. So when they arrive home from closing, they come to their new house with welcome home signs in the front yard. And so we're like, that is a wow. However, not everyone we meet ends up at closing. And that's only for our buyer clients. So we're like, what can we do that adds one more thing? And so we came up with an under contract congratulations box and delivery. So when they go pending, whether it's a buyer or seller, we're going to deliver to their front porch, because they'll have a home either way, a box that has supplies needed to get packing and get moving, because we've already given them logoed packing tape at the front end, and now we're giving them boxes. So we haven't figured out the exact details if it's going to be like 10 moving boxes to start packing, and then inside of a cute little gift box. Yeah, and kind of like Josh's, the size of, Josh's box delivery, and inside of that maybe have some other things needed whenever you start packing up. So tell me what should be in the box. No ideas.
Clorox wipes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, cleaning stuff.
Mr. Clean.
You should buy my keychains that have the bottle openers on the end, because they might need to have a cocktail while they're doing it.
For sure. For sure.
I'd put a little notepad that says, "Now that I'm unemployed, I need someone to replace you." With
That's cute.
line.
That's clever.
Yeah, so that's what we got really excited about, because that way it's a treat for, you've worked hard to either find your great house, and I know you're stressed, or you've done a good job of keeping your home tidy, you got your contract, and here's our surprise and delight. So
I like it. That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
What
My
else?
team also has, you can also do something just like the Ritz-Carlton does, and keep a little black card on them. Basically, it's a gift card. You could give it to your team members and give it to them, and say, hey, in a quarter, here's $500, right? I want you to use this for anything to make somebody else's experience better. Or whatever your amount is, $10,000, whatever, Josh. You put that amount on that card, and you say, this is for client experiences. You obviously give us the receipts back so that we want to know what they went for, and we can mastermind around it. Like, let's use this to make somebody's day better. If that means that you're paying for a babysitter or sending them pizza and beer so that they can pack and not think about dinner, whatever it is, that little touch really makes a big difference.
Hey, Jenny.
So
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So I was just going to say, it takes two to get your house sold, and give them a $2 bill. There you go. And then
Taking all the credit. Damn you.
I brought this up. Let's talk about that.
No, I've been doing it for like 10 years, but go ahead.
Since I was born, dude.
All
Our
right.
Terry gives $2 bills.
I want to give you
All right, moving on. This is my life in the group.
What up?
Who has a $2 bill besides me?
I have a bunch of them.
On them.
Why is this such a thing?
Tim, I'm with you. Let's let them fight over this.
No,
Yeah. The best part is tipping people with $2 bills. People go crazy.
Amazing. Boom. Boom. Got some hundreds too.
Do you have a $10,000 bill?
boom, boom, boom.
I got a couple in here.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, Tony, you can give me some on Wednesday.
You got it. They're ready.
We didn't fully answer the question, so maybe we need to do part two.
Surprise and delight. Surprise and delight.
How do you surprise and delight Josh Anderson?
We don't have time for that. I don't know, but we didn't really answer the initial question.
That was it.
No, the initial question of the entire call.
Well, these things will do it.
Okay. I don't know.
Giving such incredible customer experience.
Question.
What?
How would you answer that initial question?
Surprise and delight?
No, the initial question, which Gary Keller stated, if I believe correctly.
Oh, yes. Actually, I think Mark Zuckerberg.
He stole it.
Yeah, my other things are beside, well, my number one was hiring more leaders. But other than that, for me, it was doing a lot more video. It was next leveling my client events and loyalty programs for client experience.
Yeah, so your last two are this topic.
Okay, kind of.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that if we're transactional, then we're no different than Zillow.
I think one of these Zooms that we should do, or Facebook Live, whatever we're doing right now, we should probably do it based on client experience and client events.
Yeah.
Just because I think so many of us do them. even if it comes down to, team events that you do as well, but community, charity, client experience, it all goes together.
Yeah, it does.
Does everybody here have nonprofit? You can do one on
And
that
nonprofit.
too. Y'all have nonprofit? Yeah.
I have one started, and I have a bunch I donate to that I participate heavily in. That's why I haven't gone with it yet.
Just so
I know. I feel it coming.
We'll talk beforehand. It's a lot of work.
All right.
Timmy, what do you got to wrap up?
I think just to piggyback off of surprise and delight and how to put ourselves out of business, I think, like Gary says, collect data. The more we know, the better we are. And I think it's important just to bulletproof our database. I mean, there's so much we don't know. So much we don't know about our clients. I mean, just when you're talking about surprise and delight, I was like, well, I guess it would depend on the client. What do I know about the client? What do I know about their families? And so be like Siri, collect data.
There you go.
Start mining it.
It seems silly, but even when you have open houses, I was just going through our Brivity this morning when we were prospecting. We need to get better and get some more stuff from that. So as we're going through it, I happened to look at old open house leads that luckily I had one of the girls on the team really smart. Every time she would put something in there, she'd go, want to move to Simsbury, Connecticut because they want to be close to their grandchild. They don't have to rent. They don't like, so she'd give a little bit of information. I didn't have all the data I needed, but I had just enough. So in the conversation with them, all I had was their Faye and Danny and their phone number. I didn't have their email. I didn't have their last name. I had that they had a grandchild they wanted to move to Simsbury for. So after talking to them for 5 minutes, I found out they don't have to sell to buy. They're a $325,000 cash buyer. They are ready to go whenever I can meet them, which was amazing. Got their last name, got their email, and they're like, thanks so much for calling and checking in.
Do you think y'all's team, do you guys think that your teams understand why we collect data? Like really understand?
A couple of them, not all.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think it goes along with everything else that we think that our team knows as far as why we do things and systems. I mean, I've got agents on the team that have been on the team for 7 and 9 years that don't know some of the internal systems and things that we do because they're so busy servicing the clients and the transaction that they don't actually know or understand where some of our lead sources are, what we're systematizing, why we're collecting the data we're collecting. We do so when buyers come into our office or sellers come into our office, we have an intake form and it's got everything front and back on it. What are their anniversaries? What are their favorite snacks? What are their favorite dream trips? Everything. So we can send them like on an anniversary. If their dream trip is Italy, we can send them a $50, or a $25 coffee table book about Italy. And it's as silly as that is. Yeah, go, Jenny.
No, I'm asking questions about this. So we also have a VIP form, and that's kind of who owns that. Like the data gets put into the database, and then so we use that info for a closing, gift certificate to their favorite restaurant or things like that. So who, Josh, on your team is owning those extra touches and love, because that seems like something that is awesome. And then who owns it?
I didn't get like half the question, but I think I know what it is. So inputting it is director of operations, but every agent on the team, we've talked about it at like a gazillion team meetings on do we need to change it up? What do we want to add? What do we want to take off? And do they understand the reasoning behind why we're gathering this data? So, knowing who their kids are, when their birthdays are, all of that stuff. And we're sending, I think the hard part is we put that into our database and there isn't an easy way. We have it in there, but there's not an easy way to grab it without going in and manually looking at all of it. That's the hardest part. We scan all of it in. Yeah, so we scan all of it into our Google Drive. I think that's the hardest part is if somebody's not thinking about that constantly, then there's not a way to just click a button and go pull everybody's, intake forms.
You could probably do it.
If you tagged it and then
with a hashtag of,
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm asking. I love having the data. It's just then who owns the delivery of it or the idea of giving it, or is there like a quarterly spur reminder of, you know, in your Rockstar group or your raving fans, now go find 10 people to give to. I don't know what the system is.
Why couldn't you make it super simple and just use like a file folder and say, okay, just like the old tickler system they used to have when people started, and literally make it month by month and just say, okay, this is for all home anniversaries in January, December, whatever. Just start with a home anniversary.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not
beyond that.
I'm not talking about that though, Jess. Like that's a great idea, but what I'm talking about the data beyond that, but beyond the anniversaries and the birthday.
Right. That was just basic.
It's the data that you can't really file. Like, how do you file such a robust system with regard to what's their favorite candy bar? I don't know. I'm just making
everybody that wants to go to Italy.
No, I'm just asking with that, like exactly what you're both talking about. With that, what's the system of when we deliver that surprise to them?
That could be a pop by.
I think that's.
And how do you remember to do it?
I mean,
okay, so
schedule pop by on your 36 touch, because we know for past clients we should do that. You know, at least one. You know, also have a client event face to face or a pop by. So I don't know. It's part of something. one time a year that.
We do anniversaries now. We just call and say, congratulations, it's been a year. We do them weekly, and our ISA department does them.
So maybe what if they didn't close and anyway, let's pretend they did. So maybe at their anniversary of their home purchase, let's see, what if they were a seller and they moved out of state? Do you still say happy anniversary to Getting Lost?
That's only on the buy side. So we don't have that. And we have a lot that move out of state. I mean, a big percentage move outside.
Okay, so they stay in town, they were a buyer, they closed, and you have your anniversary, and that is your reminder to do some surprise little fun thing. I think the Peters in Atlanta, on their first anniversary, they send them cookies or brownies or something, and they also send a CMA, an updated CMA. So, hey, can you believe it's been a year? Here's an updated market report if you're just curious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey guys, I gotta run.
Okay.
All right, Timmy.
We all do too. All right. Okay, he's out. All right, well, that actually is good. Does anyone have anything else to wrap up on? Are we good?
Just really simple, like you were saying about the house anniversaries. I mean, it's a huge miss if people don't take a picture of their clients in front of their house with a sold sign or with them. I know Tony's team and my team are really good at doing that. And then tagging them on Facebook, because all their friends see it. They see who they use. They always thank you on those posts. And even you want to up your game with video, get video testimonials from all your clients, right? And then you have them, it's not just them typing something out. You can literally see, like, Jess was super excited when they got to use, so-and-so. And it makes a big difference when you do that, I think.
Yeah, that's on our list too. How many lists do we have?
List.
I wrote down 317 while we've been on here. So
my son says, I got an idea about an idea. And that's pretty much what this whole thing's been, right?
Yeah.
It's about ideas.
Yeah, I wrote down at the top of my chicken scratch for today was keep going, keep growing, let go of, and stop controlling everything. Does that sum it up for you guys? Yeah.
All we heard was stop controlling everything.
All right, so I'll stop controlling everything and we can say goodbye.
I'll see.
I appreciate you guys. We'll talk later.
See you guys.
Thanks for everything.